February 8th, 2009, Los Angeles, California. It is the night before the Grammy Awards. Two of the most famous young musicians in America are in a car together on a quiet street in Hancock Park. They are 20 years old and 21 years old. They are in love, the kind of love that fills gossip magazines and sells millions of records and makes the world believe that beauty and talent and fame are somehow connected. What happens next in that car will be photographed. The photographs will be leaked to the internet. Within hours, the entire world will see them. And the young woman in that car, the girl from Barbados who left everything at 16 with nothing but a demo tape and a dream, will make a choice in the aftermath of that night that defines everything about who she is. She does not disappear. She does not hide. She does not let it break her. She goes back into the studio. She makes the darkest, most powerful album of her career. She builds a fashion empire. She builds a beauty company. She becomes a billionaire, not from music, but from makeup. And 14 years later, she stands on the Super Bowl stage in front of 100 million people, touches up her Fenty Beauty lipstick mid-performance, and earns $5.6 million in media value in the next 12 hours. That is who Rihanna is. This is her full story from the very beginning. February 20th, 1988, St. Michael Parish, Barbados. Robin Rihanna Fenty was born to Ronald Fenty, a warehouse supervisor, and Monica Braithwaite, an accountant. The household carried tension. Barbados is a small island, 166 square miles. Beautiful, the kind of beauty that travel brochures sell to people who have never had to live inside it. Caribbean sun, white sand beaches, turquoise water. And inside the Fenty family home, a modest two-bedroom house, something less beautiful was happening. Her father struggled with alcohol and drug addiction, and Rihanna has spoken openly about watching her parents fight through most of her childhood. She also dealt with severe headaches as a child, and doctors later ruled them stress-related. Crack cocaine was the specific addiction her father carried. She has described in interviews over the years what it was like to grow up in the shadow of that, the unpredictability, the tension, the way addiction reshapes a household around itself until everyone is organizing their life around the absence at the center. She and her two younger brothers, Rory and Rajad, grew up in that environment. They survived it the way children survive difficult things, by finding the spaces that were safe, by developing the skills that gave them control over something in a life that felt largely out of control. For Rihanna, that space was music. As a child, she listened to Caribbean music such as reggae, as well as American hip-hop and R&B. She especially enjoyed singing and won a high school talent show with a rendition of a Mariah Carey song. She sold clothes with her father at a roadside stall. She understood commerce before she understood art, that things have value, that value can be exchanged, that the person who controls what they're selling controls something real. She was 15 years old when she formed a girl group with two school friends. They were performing at local events, learning the mechanics of performance, how to use a stage, how to hold an audience, how to make a room feel what you want them to feel. And then, in 2003, an American music producer on vacation in Barbados heard something. Evan Rogers was not looking for a star when he came to Barbados in 2003. He was on holiday with his wife. He was a Connecticut-based music producer with a solid career in American pop and R&B. He was not in the business of finding Caribbean teenagers and turning them into global superstars. And then he heard Rihanna sing. A chance meeting with music producer Evan Rogers changed everything. Evan Rogers visited Barbados in 2003, heard a teenage Rihanna sing, and arranged for her to audition.
He recognized something immediately, not just a voice, presence, the quality that cannot be trained, cannot be manufactured, cannot be bought, the thing that makes a room go still. He arranged for her and her mother to meet him more formally. He heard the quality again. He was certain. At the age of 16, Rihanna made a bold decision to pursue her dreams by moving to the United States. Relocating from her home in Barbados to Connecticut, she stayed with music producer Evan Rogers and his wife. This pivotal move allowed her to focus on honing her vocal talents and recording a demo album that would ultimately pave the way for her music career. She left Barbados at 16. She has described the moment of leaving with a clarity and a certainty that speaks volumes about who she was even then. When I left Barbados, I didn't look back. I wanted to do what I had to do, even if it meant moving to America. She recorded a 4-song demo in Connecticut. Rogers sent it to record labels. The response was significant enough to generate serious interest. The most significant response came from a label whose new president was one of the most famous men in hip-hop, Def Jam Records, Jay-Z.
In January 2016, after years of anticipation, Rihanna released Anti. It was, by every measure, her most artistically ambitious album. More genre-defying than anything she had made before. More personal, more willing to exist outside of commercial expectation. Work with Drake debuted at #1. Needed Me, Kiss It Better. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. And then she stopped. For 8 years, Rihanna did not release a studio album. It was not silence from inactivity, it was silence from intention. She was building something else, something that would make her more money, reach more people, and change more lives than any album ever could. But before we get to Fenty Beauty, there is one more part of the music chapter that deserves to be told. Drake. The relationship between Rihanna and Drake, which was publicly on and off across nearly a decade, from approximately 2009 to 2016, was one of the most discussed and least clearly understood celebrity relationships of the era. Collaborations produced #1 records, public gestures, including Drake declaring his love for Rihanna from the MTV VMA stage in 2016 to her visible discomfort, generated enormous coverage. She moved on, because Rihanna has always moved on, forward, on her own terms, in her own time. September 8, 2017, Fenty Beauty launched at Sephora stores globally with 40 shades of foundation. 40 shades. The beauty industry standard at the time was for most brands somewhere between 10 and 20 shades, heavily weighted towards light and medium skin tones, with minimal options for deeper complexions. Rihanna launched with 40 shades specifically because she had watched women of color, including herself, unable to find a foundation that matched their skin for their entire lives. She was not filling a market gap as a business strategy. She was correcting an injustice she had personally experienced and witnessed. The response was seismic. Fenty Beauty sold out in multiple shades within hours of launch. The shade range that had been considered most likely to be slow-moving, the very deep foundations for the darkest skin tones, sold out first. Within its first full year, Fenty Beauty generated $570 million. The beauty industry responded because the beauty industry had to respond. Within 12 months of Fenty Beauty's launch, virtually every major cosmetics brand had announced an expansion of their shade ranges. Journalists, cultural critics, and academics coined the term the Fenty effect to describe the forced industry transformation. One product line from one woman had changed the business practices of a multi-billion-dollar global industry. While music is what made Rihanna famous, it's her Fenty Beauty line that has taken her wealth into the stratosphere. In a given year, Rihanna earns $40 to $80 million from her expanding empire. She added Fenty Skin in 2020,
Savage x Fenty lingerie with a valuation of $1 billion. In June 2024, she expanded further into hair care market with Fenty Hair, targeting a wide range of hair types with an emphasis on repair and styling products. Rihanna has a net worth of $1.4 billion, making her the richest female musician and the second wealthiest female entertainer after Oprah. The girl who used to sell clothes with her father on a roadside in Barbados was now a billionaire. February 12, 2023, State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Super Bowl LVII halftime show. Rihanna had not performed live in 7 years. She had not released music in 7 years. The last time she had stood on a major stage was 2016. She had been pregnant twice. She had built a billion-dollar business empire. She had become a mother. She walked out onto that stage in a red bodysuit. The crowd erupted with the specific, sustained emotional roar that only happens when someone walks onto a stage after years away and the audience has missed them more than they realized. She performed for 13 minutes, hit after hit. Only Girl, We Found Love, Umbrella, Diamonds, Work. Every song a chapter. Every song a piece of the woman the world had watched become who she was. And midway through the performance, she did something that became one of the most talked about moments in Super Bowl halftime show history. She paused, looked at the camera, and applied her Fenty Beauty foundation mid-show. It was not an accident. It was not improvised. It was a business decision made by the world's richest female musician, executed in front of 100 million people, that generated $5.6 million in media impact value for Fenty Beauty within 12 hours. A representative for Rihanna also confirmed that the singer is pregnant with her second child with rapper A$AP Rocky. She had announced a pregnancy, her second, at the Super Bowl halftime show. The internet exploded again, because that is what Rihanna does. She makes moments out of everything. She turns the Super Bowl stage into a Fenty Beauty commercial. She turns a pregnancy announcement into the most viral image of the year. She turns 7 years of silence into a return that makes every other comeback look understated. A$AP Rocky and Rihanna had known each other for a decade before they became a couple. They had collaborated on music. They had run in the same circles. They were friends before they were anything else. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky reportedly started dating in December 2020. In a May interview with GQ, A$AP Rocky called Rihanna the love of my life. I think when you know, she's the one, he told the publication. The couple welcomed their first child, a son named Reza Athelston Mayers, on May 13, 2022. During her headlining performance at the Super Bowl LVII halftime show in February 2023, Rihanna famously revealed her second pregnancy, later giving birth to another son, Riot Rose Mayers, on August 1, 2023. At the 2025 Met Gala, where A$AP Rocky served as co-chair, Rihanna revealed she was expecting their third child. On September 13, 2025, she gave birth to a daughter named Rocky Irish Mayers. 3 children, a family built by a woman who grew up watching her parents fight every night in a 2-bedroom house in Barbados, a woman who left at 16 with a demo tape, a woman who survived the most public domestic violence incident of her generation. She built a billion-dollar empire from a shade range. She has done it all with a particular kind of grace, not the performing grace of someone managing their image, but the real grace of someone who knows exactly who they are and has no interest in being anything else. She still has not released a new studio album. As of 2026, it's been 10 years since Anti. Fans have waited. They will keep waiting because they understand by now that Rihanna releases things when she is ready and not before. And when she does, it will be the most anticipated album in the history of pop music. 14 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, 9 Grammy Awards, 600 million records sold across her career, the best-selling movie soundtrack performance since Whitney Houston, the Super Bowl halftime show that generated more media coverage than any in years, and a beauty company that changed the way the industry thinks about color, about inclusion, about whose skin is worth celebrating. But the legacy of Rihanna is not the numbers. The numbers are the evidence. The legacy is what the evidence proves. It proves that a girl from Barbados, from a house with addiction and violence and financial insecurity, can become the richest female musician in the history of the world, not by playing the game as it was designed, by redesigning the game entirely. She did not let the worst night of her life define her. She let it reveal her. The strength that was already there, the clarity that was already there, the absolute refusal to be reduced to someone else's story, all of that became visible in the aftermath of February 8, 2009, in a way that it might not have become visible otherwise. She changed how the beauty industry thinks about black skin. She changed how musicians think about building businesses beyond music. She changed how a generation of young women in Barbados and in St. Michael Parish and in every small island and small town where girls grow up watching their parents fight and dreaming of something bigger. She changed how they think about what is possible. She left Barbados at 16 and she didn't look back. She became a billionaire and bought it back. All of it. Robin Rihanna Fenty, born February 20th, 2008, St. Michael Parish, Barbados. The baddest woman in the room. Every room. Always. Thank you for watching Hollywood Now TV. Subscribe and hit the bell for a new celebrity documentary every week. Comment below, which Rihanna era is your favorite, and do you think she will ever release that album? In 2007, something changed. Not gradually, completely, in one album. Good Girl Gone Bad was released in May 2007. In 2007, Rihanna transformed from a teen pop star into a serious artist with her groundbreaking album, Good Girl Gone Bad, which featured the iconic single, Umbrella, featuring Jay-Z. Umbrella spent 10 weeks at #1 in the United Kingdom, the longest reign at #1 by any artist in years. It reached #1 in multiple countries simultaneously. It became the defining pop song of 2007. And it introduced the world to a different Rihanna, not the reggae-influenced Caribbean teenager of Pon de Replay. A darker, more powerful, more deliberately constructed pop figure. The red hair, the sharp angles, the aesthetic that said, "I am not the girl you thought I was." She won her first Grammy Award for Umbrella, Best Rap Sung Collaboration. She was 19 years old. The Good Girl Gone Bad World Tour followed, arenas across North America, Europe, Asia, Australia. She was 20 years old and headlining arenas on 6 continents. In 2007, at the peak of this extraordinary ascent, she met a young singer who was at that moment nearly as famous as she was. His name was Chris Brown. Chris Brown was 19 years old. He was one of the most talented young entertainers in America, a dancer, a singer, a performer with an energy that his fans described as irresistible. He and Rihanna were, in the language of celebrity culture, perfect together. Young, beautiful, talented, famous. They began dating in 2008. They were private about it for a time, 2 people navigating fame, trying to maintain something real inside it. People who knew them then described genuine warmth between them, a real relationship, real feelings. Rihanna has said in interviews that she loved him, that he was her best friend, that the relationship felt like something she had been waiting for. The Grammy Awards were scheduled for February 8, 2009. There was a pre-Grammy party the evening before. They were both expected to perform. They got into an argument in the car. At around 12:30 a.m. on February 8, 2009, Brown and his then-girlfriend, singer Rihanna, had an argument which escalated into physical violence, leaving Rihanna with visible facial injuries which required hospitalization. Brown repeatedly punched Rihanna, bit her ear, and choked her to the point that she nearly lost consciousness, according to a search warrant affidavit. Brown turned himself in to the Los Angeles Police Department's Wilshire station at 6:30 p.m. and was booked under suspicion of making criminal threats. Rihanna was treated for her injuries. She did not perform at the Grammys. The violent episode between Chris Brown and Rihanna instantly became one of the most notorious domestic abuse incidents of the 21st century, after photos of her battered face were leaked to the press. The photographs, which showed the extent of what had been done to her, went around the world within hours. Rihanna was 21 years old. The public response was immediate and enormous. Some people responded with the compassion and outrage the situation deserved. Others, and this is a dimension of the story that reflects something deeply uncomfortable about how society treats victims of domestic violence, questioned Rihanna, blamed her, asked what she had done to provoke it. She has spoken about how that response made her feel. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating, Rihanna told Oprah Winfrey in a 2012 interview. I lost my best friend. Everything I knew switched in a night, and I couldn't control that. It was a weird, confusing space to be in, because as angry as I was, as angry and hurt and betrayed, I just felt like he made that mistake because he needed help. Brown pleaded guilty to the felony charge and served 5 years of probation, in addition to community service and domestic violence counseling. Rihanna briefly reconciled in 2012, a decision that generated significant public controversy and that Rihanna herself later described as a mistake she understood in retrospect. The reconciliation did not last, but in 2009, in the immediate aftermath of February 8th, Rihanna did what the world did not expect. She made music. She went into the studio. She processed every bit of the anger and the grief and the confusion and the shame through the only language that had always been fully hers. And what came out was Rated R, the darkest, most visceral, most emotionally honest album she had ever made. It was also one of the most powerful. She was not going to be defined by what had been done to her. She was going to define herself. Rated R was released in November 2009, 9 months after February 8th. It was not the album of a victim. It was the album of someone who had processed something enormous and come out the other side with their power intact and sharpened. Songs like Russian Roulette, Hard, Rude Boy, each one a different facet of what she had been through and who she was becoming. Loud followed in 2010, more joyful, more defiant. What's My Name with Drake at number 1, Only Girl in the World at number 1, S&M at number 1. 5 number 1 singles from 2 consecutive albums. She was 22 years old. Talk That Talk in 2011, Unapologetic in 2012, her first album to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200, Grammy Award for Best Urban Contemporary Album. In 2009 and 2012, in the years that followed the worst night of her life, Rihanna became the most dominant pop artist on the planet, not despite what had happened to her, in defiance of it. She released 14 number 1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100 during this period, more than any other artist, more than anyone. She collaborated with everyone: Eminem, Jay-Z, Calvin Harris, Drake, Paul McCartney, Kanye West. She crossed genre boundaries so casually that the boundaries themselves began to seem arbitrary. She was not a pop artist or an R&B artist or a dance artist. She was all of it simultaneously. It made it look effortless. It was not effortless. It was the discipline of someone who had decided that the only acceptable response to adversity was more work, more output, more proof.